Ezra, if you can't play, you need to get down.
Yeah, I saw those texts, by the way. I saw when Justin Fields, I didn't see it live when he said that, but I did obviously catch it. I don't know, why would he say that?
That is so...
Why would he say that? First off, it's preseason. It's not
that's
same speed.
So watching the Packer-Texan first half, the Texans were playing really fast because it was mostly their starters in for the entire first half. And then you watch the Packers.
Wait, we're talking about the Bears, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, comparing speeds, like game speeds.
Yeah.
And then but most teams aren't playing their starters that long. Texans have to because they're going to have a brand new roster.
Right.
Yeah, I'm watching the game and I'm like, God, the Texans look fast. And then I realize, oh yeah, that's their entire. They have to. They're playing for a roster spot.
Exactly.
Literally, nobody has a spot on that team.
No, I'm just not understanding why he would say that, because now he just set himself up for everybody's gonna just have that in the holster, just waiting.
Yep.
To use it against him this year.
Yep. You see Uncle waving to you? I saw that and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be the same old Bears team. Is that Uncle? Anari, go pee-pee potty.
Hello.
Okay. No. Daddy's gonna record the show, so no share.
He's saying,
go get your tablet. Where's your tablet at? Daddy'll turn it on. All right, running an ad.
All right. Yo, I downloaded Red Dead Redemption 2, downloaded God of War again back on my laptop, got the PS Now subscription. I got that. I'm going heavy. I'm about to buy Horizon as well.
Horizon is... You didn't pick it up when it was free?
Nah. I didn't. I scrolled by it yesterday on PS Now thing. I was like, okay. I'll just grab that.
It's good. It is good.
So,
like, the gameplay in that game is just... It's unreal. Ezra, go get your tablet. What do you want to watch? No, we're watching Spider-Man on the TV. Ezra, do not touch my TV. Go get your tablet. This child.
Ezra, if you can't play, you need to get down.
this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, Jordan Love looked just fine yesterday. I didn't think he looked like...
Oh, stats.
Honestly, well, it's preseason. There were a couple plays he made that went for like no gain where I was like, actually, that was a really nice play. Like, yeah, and then I was not impressed with the receiving group, but their top 3 receivers didn't play. So
that's what I'm saying. It's hard to really gauge anything when it's preseason. It really, really is, because it's just such a melting pot on the field. Meaning from first string to fourth string to, you know, the speed is not the same across the board like it is obviously week 1. So I mean, they're really gassing up Justin Fields, but don't get me wrong. Obviously, that's what you want for somebody to do, obviously, as opposed to the opposite, the alternative. But still, I don't know. They're gassing him up pretty good, and I'm like, okay, guys. I'm like, okay, guys, relax.
Can we talk about how Tebow is still in an NFL camp after that preseason performance?
Did you see that?
Yeah, that was
of a block.
That was an incredible tweet by Nick. Like,
wait, what did he say? I didn't see it. What did he say?
That block, and he goes, "I don't think this football thing is gonna work out." Does anybody know if Tebow played basketball back in grade school? And then he put the gif of the block up there.
Oh, let me. Well, we're at it.
Into the Spider-Verse is still an amazing movie.
It is. But yeah, watching Tebow's performance, I'm just like, oh my, I'm like, how?
Anybody who defended that move, I'm sorry, they look really bad right now.
Like, how? He threw a little chicken wing and then curled up in a ball, it looked like. Oh, my allergies are just destroying me.
Destroying me. Have been bad. The eye doctor told me I need to stop rubbing my eyes because I'm going to make myself look like an old man.
Yeah.
That's why you have such dark circles in your eyes. Like, it's not because you're tired. It's because you're rubbing your eyes. I'm like, oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, you shared that Thursday with us. That's next. I was like, did you do rub your eyes? Super aggressive.
It feels so good.
All right.
I'm recording this time.
Yeah, it's still not opening. I'll try to open it now. It's still not opening on mine.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Even after I downloaded the thing, clicked the link, downloaded it.
I should have time today. I can see if I can get it going. So it's all right.
Uninstalled it as well. You'll go see and reinstalled it.
We ready?
Dude, I was gonna buy Runescape 2 last night, but yeah, I'm ready.
You're in that mode, man.
Yeah.
Find one, just play it.
I'm really liking Red Dead. But then I'm gonna get God of War back up too. I just downloaded that yesterday too from the PS Now. What would you call that? The PS Now store? The PS Now
marketplace
that works. But I really play the show. I've been putting some crazy hours in the show. Might be one of my favorite sports games. It's pretty sick.
All right, here we go. Thank you for tapping into some Untapped Keg. I am one of your hosts, RJ Zimmerman, here with my good friend, the glue, some would say, Monte Ball.
Glue.
I don't know what else to call you. I mean,
no.
It's kind of around and holding stuff together.
The glue. That's way more of more. I don't know. I just didn't anticipate that. Nothing wrong. It's actually in the opposite end where it's, you're rolling out the red carpet for me, and I do not need that. All is well, man. All is well. Just talking pre-show earlier. Allergies are destroying me. Getting me really, really good. I got to get back on my Zyrtec, but all is well on my end. Sounds like the kids are here. But how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, people are gonna hear my children in the background because we are all in the basement today. It is, my partner went on a getaway relaxation weekend, and I told her, don't worry about coming back Sunday. Come back when you come back. Like, it is what it is. So we're going to try this and see how well it works. I got Spider-Man going on one TV. I got Bubble Numbs on a tablet. I got...
What is that? What are these niche shows that come?
Bumble Numbs is from...
Blippi was something new that's been around for... What else is new? That just hits everything by wave. Just hits... Just
Octonauts
the little
right
kids entertainment. Yeah, Octonauts.
Obviously, Paw Patrol's still up there.
Paw Patrol, Blippi, Bluey,
Bubble Guppies. Oh, Bluey! Don't knock Bluey. Like, that's a good adult show too. Bluey is fantastic. Bluey. I've heard people who are in Hollywood say it's the best show on television, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not. But it is like, it's a super good show. It's like up there with Ted Lasso for shows right now. I started Ted Lasso last night. I'm on the third episode. And you're all in, aren't you?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm giving it time. It's a little slow, but that's understandable though. That's understandable. I'm hearing bad things
immediately. What are you talking about?
I'm gonna finish it. It's not terrible, but it's not. I was hoping for a little more just more on the field play.
You're gonna be disappointed.
But I get it, right? But I'm gonna keep watching it though. I mean, it's got the Apple TV subscription.
If you want on-field play, you're not gonna get it because it's not a part of the show.
Okay.
Really, there's few moments here and there, but you can, when they show it, you can tell they hired comedian actors and not athletic actors, so they don't really want to show too much there.
Okay. See, because I'm thinking coming into the show, I was thinking like not at the caliber of Remember the Titans, but that kind of, showing the gameplay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm still gonna watch it because I like him. He's a really, really good actor. And I like the cast.
I love everybody because they did like. I bet you're not a big fan of Jamie or Roy right now. You don't really like either of them that much.
I can't even really. I gotta go back.
You will. So
I'll go back and watch the last episode.
Hot stuff.
Yeah.
Jamie.
Okay, yeah.
But you will like. There's a moment in the show where you are like, okay, I don't hate that person anymore, and then Roy is kind of, he's the old guy with the anger, the temper.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. With the super hairy chest.
Yeah. There's a point in the show where you're like, he's my favorite character. Period. And you'll get there. You'll get there.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, it was funny. One of the what I forgot what her name was. What she said to him. The dialogue is really good. I'll say that. I'm enjoying the dialogue. I was hoping for more soccer, but I understand that does make sense. Obviously, yeah, you don't want comedians, getting a significant amount of time on TV of them trying to play soccer. I get it, but no, I'm enjoying it thus far. But I'm gonna continue watching it.
I'm in the second season, and I still get that feeling every once in a while that I wish we could see them play and stuff like that. But then you watch it and you're like, oh no, I don't.
I mean, I can.
I like the practice parts. That's it.
True. And because when I did see the end game, I was like, okay, this kind of resembles a tween type. Is that what they call them nowadays? Type of like football movie or football TV show. But it's good. I think obviously Jamie, I can see the change that's going to happen in him. Obviously, they're foreshadowing a lot. He's going to change his character, become more of a we as opposed to a me guy. We'll see. Maybe. But that's what's on my weekend agenda. That was my weekend agenda. I watched a lot of shows. This weekend. Really just kick back and relax because I'm gonna really start gearing up here. A busy fall. How was your weekend?
It is. It's really good. But this is kind of. I'll be right back. This is
no problem.
So
yeah.
Carry us, sir.
Yeah, I got it. Got the boys. But yeah, so for those who are just not tuning in or have been listening, yeah. So today, again, so we're still working out our schedule to get our guests on, but it's going to be, first off, we really, really appreciate everybody's patience, with us with Untapped Keg and everything. But we're gonna have a very, very busy fall, you guys. A very busy fall. Again, that being with some athletes on, former athletes, current athletes. We're gonna have a very busy season coming up. So we're getting as much as we can out right now about us, about how our summer was, about what we're up to, how we're feeling, because once we get into that fall, it's gonna be just heavy football content. It's pretty dense content we're gonna bring at you. So for me,
congratulations to Darren Waller, by the way, 4 years.
Yeah. I had to hit that retweet on him. That's really good for him. That's really, really good for him. But yeah, so my free time, this past weekend, I have a really slow one. Catching up on shows, man. And really taking the time to, you get in that moment. You get in them too as well, RJ. Those moods, I want to say, where you really want to invest your time into a story in a game, or maybe a book, or dense TV show.
Yep.
It's kind of what I'm in right now.
I get it.
Trying to really invest a piece of my soul into something like The Last of Us. Like,
if that's what you're feeling like, I suggest now's the time for God of War. Then, for real.
I haven't. I just downloaded it last night.
And just don't be afraid to start it over if you need to, because it might hit a little.
I think I'm going to.
Yeah. So my weekend, you were asking.
Yeah.
Kind of getting packed up, ready for the move. Kind of got ready so that a lot of the big stuff, I just got to figure out where I'm taking it. If I'm taking it to a dump, am I taking it to a rehome store? Am I taking it to friends that need something, right? Maybe family.
Right.
But also just spent the entire weekend with my kids. So it was just a me and the kid weekend. It's a lot of fun, a lot of park visits, a lot of food eaten. Not always the best food because it's daddy weekend, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Come on.
You got to get that stuff in.
Come on, they like kids.
Too many snacks, but like, I don't want to say the word, but candy, because they're gonna know. We didn't have too much of that, but
I can see your oldest in the reflection. Was he wearing his helmet?
Yeah, he's got his helmet on.
His rollerblading helmet.
Yep, he just walks around with.
But no, I think it's important. I think that's, as we talk about, again, we're gearing up for a very, very busy season. So trying to give you guys as much as we can about, what do we do on our free time? How do we exist outside of these four corners here on my screen?
Right.
What do we do? How do we keep ourselves sane? How do we keep ourselves sober? How do we keep ourselves moving forward, not dwelling on the past? And I think it's really, again, understanding yourself. For me, again, once I start hitting the fall and the winter, I really want to invest. Once it starts getting really cold outside, I really want to invest into a story. I watched Beowulf again a couple days ago. Really big fan of Beowulf. I love that story. Really love that story. I loved it in the British literature course that I took in high school. But again, I'm all over the place right now, but I'm just throwing some stuff out there. Yeah. Because
I mean, it's important. We've talked about hobbies. We've talked about all of that. I mean, right now I'm kind of like in between stages because, as I've shared, making a huge move, a huge change in my life, right? And that's one of those things where a huge change brings stress. Not always bad stress, and it's not always good stress. It's just stress, and there is a difference between good stress and bad stress. I'd say this podcast kind of brings a little bit of both, right? But it's also a great outlet for us. I'm glad that we talked about my weekend with the kids, because one thing I want to get into is family, and how family,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of sobriety revolves around family, revolves around your past, present, and future with family. So it going along that stress, what stresses you out more than family? I mean, there's not a lot out there that stresses you out more. Good stress and bad stress. We just
Not a lot.
that week-long vacation out of the country. You know, we got COVID coming back with a vengeance. We got get vaccinated, please. Like, it's
Right.
free. They come to you now in some places. Please get vaccinated for my children because they cannot be vaccinated. And I do not want them to have to go to the hospital right now.
Speaking of that, did you see that UW Health got the nudge from Capitol Hill to be the first to try it out, trials for the youth.
That.
Yeah, to get the vaccination. Yeah, UW Health.
We will be, as soon as it's certified safe, we'll be first in line. Their names will be on. So
right. No, I just want to throw that
I
in
knew
there.
it was
because,
only a matter of time before they started it, so we've just been waiting. But you know, there's that stress. There's that. I mean, for me, a lot of my friends have been my family growing up, and the past couple of years, I've been in a place where I have, and it was pre-COVID I started doing this, but COVID I think exacerbated it, but I kind of like drew inward. I became more stay at home. You know, I think a lot of my stress was work and family, and it was kind of everywhere, honestly. In order to maintain myself, I think that there were definitely a few times where I could have, if I had been in a situation to drink, I would have, with the place that I was. It would have been easy for me to fall into that trap, right? And I guess I'll just talk about it, right? Like, you know, with COVID, it just made things worse between me and my family. I've always been pretty independent. I was raised to be independent. And now, like, I'm grabbing that, and it is what it is. And COVID has kind of created this gap because we're on two different sides where taking all the precautions and very few, and not respecting a lot of choices I'm making and try to keep my kids healthy. I mean, yes, they do go to daycare, and yes, that is where they have their most exposure. Yeah. And that is part of it, but also there's just other parts that could be helped. That there's just been a lot of give and, or not a lot of give and a lot of take over the years, and that has created an environment that's created an environment that is it's not a good one. It's not a good one for me to be in.
Yeah, it changed. It's and again, I think this is a very important topic now, especially with the variant. You know, those waves coming about. Talking about how the pandemic, you know, we're now a year and a half, more than a half.
Well, we're almost
way in on this pandemic, and I think it's important now to do kind of a reflection, because we obviously last year when we started the podcast, we started talking about, we obviously had to mention the pandemic because we started the podcast talking about, you know, how are folks doing who just started their recovery journey, how are folks doing who been in their recovery journey for X amount of years, what have you, but are now forced to isolate because of the pandemic. How are they handling it? How is it happening? How are they doing it? Now fast forward to where we are today. How has it been for people and your families? Yeah, because I think your situation, RJ, again, my situation, I'm fortunate enough to for this pandemic, I'm on the same page with my family. But I do understand. I understand the situation, and everyone has the right to make their own decisions. I get that, but again, let me get back on track here. How has the pandemic impacted your family dynamics? That's a really good question from Untapped Keg to our listeners. We'd love to hear you guys' feedback on that. But RJ, yeah, I wonder, man, looking back on everything now, I mean, obviously we're still living in it, but 10, 15 years ago, you would think CDC doctors all across the country speaking about the pandemic, speaking about the precautions we should be taking, talking about the virus, COVID, you would think that would not be a monkey wrench to be thrown into your family.
Right. I mean,
to mess up the dynamics. You would think that
what happened?
Agreeing on a pandemic wouldn't be the one to cause a divide, in a sense. I want to hear people's feedback on that. Their questions. Yeah, how has it since the beginning of the pandemic to now? Have you lost a connection with somebody because they're on the other side of the fence?
I would guess yes. I would guess there are people that have.
Right.
I've been very surprised by people's people I wouldn't think that are anti-science that are anti-science, right? It's kind of for me, and my relationship with my family, it just kind of drove that wedge in there further. There's been a wedge for a little while. And it is what it is. And I don't know when it started, what created, if it was years ago, that's kind of just made clear now, or if it's an inability of others to adjust to a changing personality, right? Like, if you expect me to be the same person I was when I was 16, 15,
right.
18, 22, like if you're
I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago.
If you're not learning and you're not growing, what are you doing? What is life if you're not learning and growing? And sometimes growing means growing apart. So I've been feeling lately like I've left some friends behind that I feel bad about. I feel really bad. I'm starting to miss them because they were like my cousins, right? They were they were just as important to me as my siblings. And that's something that I feel a little bit of sadness about, especially with this change coming up. Like I only told one of my friends about it. Like that was it. And if you'd have told me 3 years ago that I wouldn't have told at least 3 more of my friends that I've been friends with since, kindergarten, or friends with since, freshman year of high school, like I'd call you crazy. Like there's no way I'm not going to tell them, but everybody's life gets into a different pattern. You're not with the same place you were a month ago, ever.
Oh, I appreciate you sharing that, man. I know that's not obviously you being a part of our family. I just know that that's tough to really get on camera. Obviously, to share that with strangers is tough, but a big step in the right direction. I think it's been sad to see. I'll say that it really has been. It's been disappointing. It really has been.
I'm trying to do it so that I'm not like throwing anybody under the bus.
Of course, and I don't think you did.
I haven't. I don't think you did. I also have perpetuated it as well, right? Like, but I would say the past few months I've just decided to take matters into my own hands, and that's when I created some boundaries. I haven't spoken about them with people, but they're there. It's helped put me in a better headspace. Doesn't mean I still don't get upset, but I don't get upset and dwell on it as long as I used to.
Nice.
So, talking to people at work and hearing about their relationships and with their families and stuff, it's not a heck of a lot difference. There's not much of a difference. It's kind of crazy that, this dream that we tell ourselves our family is always going to be there and stuff. That's rare. It's not often that that's the case, that your relationship is always good. Honestly, with anybody, if your relationship is never rocky, are you really like
challenging the other person to be better?
Right. But also at the same time, there's really people who are amazing at communication that like, I'm just not. I'm not good at communicating my feelings. I'm not good at communicating my emotions.
Same.
And that creates some rockiness with another person.
I mean, it's.
But you can't always roll over either. That's
true.
That's something that we talk about a lot.
No, I think it's, again, we never really touched on this topic when we talk about the pandemic and how we always obviously talk about how it's impacted the country as a whole, the world as a whole, but getting down to, a microcosm of the entire structure, that being, how is it impacting your actual family, just you and your family. This whole thing from the start of the pandemic. Actually, before even the start of the pandemic, we didn't even go political. I mean, I lost friends because of everything that's been going on in the last 2 years. That just
5.
being this, so true. That's just been because of the wedge, this political divide. And in a sense, it's not even political if we really want to get into it. When we talk about, the police brutality, X, Y, and Z, unfortunately, I lost a couple friends because they steered it towards a political debate when it's not a political debate. And that is the reason why I had to kind of step away from these friends. So yeah, I mean, this is awesome.
Hard.
This is right.
I've been sobriety.
I've been friends with these folks since age of 9. Yeah, a lot of them. And so yeah, that's a really good question. I really want folks to kind of take some time to think about that. If you do catch this, you listen. Other than obviously work, finances, etc., what is something like within your family or with a family member, friend, what have you, have you lost a connection with somebody because of the pandemic, because of how they view the pandemic? And I want to know that.
That's a really good point too. Like, I'm talking about how my friends are my family, and but when you go sober, you lose friends. That's something that we were just talking with a friend on. I was talking to a friend on Twitter about where he's been sober a few months, and all of a sudden he's starting to realize that a lot of his friends he used to hang out with aren't reaching out. And it's like, it's unfortunate, but you're not laughing because it's no,
I'm laughing.
But like that
so
is
common.
What happens? Like, I would say that's almost universal across people who have started their journey. You lose connection with a lot of people. There was a friend when I stopped drinking that I've been friends with since my freshman year of high school. We used to talk all the time, and I would be surprised if I counted it up and it was 5 times.
Oh, geez.
And it's not their fault. It's not my fault, but it's just something that happens. We move on from life and we go 2 different directions. Then how often do we meet up in the same place? I mean, I'm moving even further away now. So then I'm going to lose some friends. Who am I going to lose? Who am I going to stay in contact with? I don't know. It's something that I didn't start thinking about until I had my last softball game on Thursday night, and I almost started crying because I've been playing with the same guys for almost 10 years, and it's like,
Right.
it's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be really hard being
You're giving away a hobby. You love the game of baseball.
and those friends that I grew with, they saw me before I met them. I'm pretty sure that I was not sober when I met them, or if I was,
Right.
I was a month or two into it. So they've kind of seen this, and then it was before I started at my current job.
Yeah.
So they saw me go through the apprenticeship and evolve. And
Well, I'm gonna take a step back here real quick, because I think what you said is really important. That being on the topic of friends, when you hop on your recovery journey, you will lose friends. It happens. It's unfortunate, but it is part of the process. I want to really touch back on that, because then the question comes in: why is it so common? Why is that such a thing? And I think, obviously, RJ, you sharing your story, you sharing that person's story who you just mentioned right there, losing friends. Obviously, I've lost friends once I hopped on a recovery journey. So I think do you think it's possible? Hold on. Before I get to the question, let me mention this part. Isn't it almost like they think you're broken or something, or you're frail, or you're every single time I come back into the same vicinity, meet up, talk to said persons who I haven't talked to in a very long time, because I've been on my recovery journey. They almost talk to me as if I'm like, they almost feel bad for me. Like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I'm good. Just like what RJ stated, if you're not overcoming any sort of rockiness in your life, then are you really growing as a human being? Are you really learning? So I've learned, but I guess my again goes to my question, and then my question is like, why is it? Yeah, buddy.
Every time we're in a serious topic, it comes up.
I know. I was trying to keep my thoughts intact right there, but I get weird. Uncle. What are you doing?
Just going downstairs.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
I don't know.
What am I doing?
I don't know.
You can't see. Can you see my face?
Yeah. I can.
Then what am I doing right now?
I don't know. Crying?
Am I sticking my tongue out?
Yeah.
All right, get out of here.
Dad wants to sing like you. Dad likes to sing like you.
Is he? Yeah.
All right. Good job.
Oh, I can see your eyes now.
Yeah.
But so then again, I just mentioned briefly, real quick. It's just is it, they talk to you, and not they. I'm not generalizing every single person, of course, but you come into some folks who talk to you as a way as if you're broken.
It's
as
for
if
sure.
you're
For sure.
it's like, dude, I just don't drink alcohol anymore. There's literally nothing else different about me except, obviously going through therapy, understanding my emotional intelligence, where I fall on the emotional intelligence spectrum. Understanding all of that is important, of course, but really get down to the meat and bones of it. I just don't drink alcohol anymore. Like, we could still hang out.
It's almost like you have a contagious disease, right? That's how you like, and it's what it is a reflection of them. They look at you and they see the worst of themselves, and that's not necessarily the case. Like, one of my friends has always been really good about regulating his alcohol consumption, especially compared to me. So, but when we were together, if I wasn't drinking, he wasn't going to drink because he didn't feel comfortable. I think he would look at me and see, oh, have I had too many? What is it? So not only is it that you have to get over it for yourself, that these things are changing, but like your friends seeing you, how are they seeing you? As like the worst of themselves, or are they seeing you as the person you are? And then
Exactly.
how often did you hang out with these people not drunk?
Outside of
You're
the
a completely different person sober than you are drunk generally. And
right.
maybe they just don't like the sober person. There's that possibility.
It is a
It does
possibility.
exist.
It is a possibility. You cannot say you're 99. You can't say you're 100% sure that that's not a possibility. Yeah, because it is a possibility. That is a possibility. Hopefully that's not the case for the gentleman you were just mentioning, but that is a
think so.
possibility.
I've hung out with them plenty of times sober, but
So here's my question. The $1 million question. After stating all that, now my question is this, RJ. It's to you as well. So when we talk about that, when we talk about how awkward it gets after you hop on your recovery journey, you lose friends, you lose family members, you lose whatever because they just don't understand. Do you think, RJ, it's a lack of substance abuse education?
yeah, that has a lot to do with it, for sure.
I think so too. When you think about what we learned in school in health classes, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, which is where you should be learning, in my opinion, 7th and 8th grade, about drugs, the impact of drugs, the impact of opioids, the impact of painkillers, all of the above, especially the impact of painkillers, because that's what you can get prescribed from your trusted doctor, somebody you trust,
Right?
for breaking your ankle. They could prescribe you Vicodin, rather than just giving you Tylenol. But do you think it's a lack of substance abuse addiction education? I think so.
I think that has a lot to do with it. I mean, I can only speak from Wisconsin, where, like I said, it's a proud tradition, right?
Right.
We never talked about it from the lens of too much alcohol consumption. We only talk about it from the lens of marijuana, heroin, meth, crack, that kind of a thing.
But they always forget that alcohol is the most consumed drug on the planet. Well, if we want to get technical, you could say caffeine, but caffeine technically a drug? Is it? Is it not? I don't know. But when we say drugs, we obviously know what we're talking about. Alcohol being number one. But it's not. If we gave the same amount of attention that we're giving opioids to alcohol, I feel like we'll be making some way. We'll be making some traction.
Absolutely. But even then, is opioids really talked about enough? Because of where we are, it's not.
No, it's not.
So the fact that also exists is a problem. I mean, you talk about Narcan, and people instantly think that it's only for these drugged out like people, but like you could be ODing on something you may not be thinking you're taking an opioid, and you are.
Exactly.
Because we don't talk about it like we should.
You can take, like I said, your prescription drills, your Percocets, your Vicodin, whatever it is you're getting prescribed from your doctor. If you pop an extra pill on accident, or if you take it too soon rather than waiting your 6 hours or 4 hours or whatever it is, who knows how your body's going to react to it.
Yep.
Narcan is very, very helpful. And I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that because I am not a doctor. But it's safe.
I was going to say, there's a lot of people that talk about taking Narcan, and they think that anybody who needs a Narcan doesn't deserve a second chance.
That's ridiculous. That is a ridiculous statement.
That's a statement that I've heard quite a bit from people.
That is a ridiculous statement. And for wow, see, I'm stuttering because I'm just very upset. For one, who is this almighty human being who thinks they're Jesus who can tell somebody that you don't have a second chance? First off. That's the first one. Who are you to say someone doesn't deserve a second chance? What are you talking about?
It's the same person who told me that the Bucks will never win a championship with Giannis because Giannis is too selfish.
Okay, that's strike two on this person. Jeez, this person has the worst takes ever.
I was like, apparently you don't watch basketball very often. Dude scored 50 points on 27 shots. Yes, he's too.
Yeah.
It wasn't even.
You
I
know,
don't think it was 27 shots.
that dude had a wonderful playoff performance. Anyways, that is a disgusting take. That being anybody who needs Narcan doesn't
second chance, right? Like, who says that? Who are you?
No, that's a great point though about
son,
the
daughter, brother, sister doesn't deserve a second chance. Mom, dad.
right. That's the thing. That's a great point that you. I'm glad you shared that because it's right under the topic that we're mentioning: substance abuse, the lack of education surrounding substance abuse.
And it goes back to your family as well, right? Like your family can help you out of that, or can help push you further.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There's not much where it's just kind of stays neutral. Like, unfortunately, your family has so much effect on you, fortunately or unfortunately. They can either help you or they can send you down deeper down that well. And that's something that I think I think about it a lot, unfortunately, because I have to, but also, you know, being a parent. If my kids, one of my two kids for sure has that in their personality, that addictive personality, that part of their brain that likes to fixate on things and possibly drinking. So what can I do to help them avoid that? What can I help them to do to learn from me and not make the same mistakes that I made? What can I do for that? And that's a fine line to walk. It's a fine line to think about. But it's something that I'm going to think about because I want the best for them. Period. No matter what I have to do, I want the best for them.
Exactly. An important topic. An important discussion. It really, really is. When we talk about this substance abuse education, again, topic started out with how do your friends or family or family treat you? How did they treat you? Or how are they treating you throughout your recovery journey? Has their demeanor changed around you? Are they a little bit more timid around you? Like sometimes I feel as if folks walk on eggshells around me.
Do they give you the shame look? Like they look at you and you can see shame in their eyes? Like that was a huge one for me.
Oh, I get that a lot now. And I'm just like, whatever. You know, it is what it is.
It used to make me salty.
Yeah.
I used to be like, well, I'm going to show you. Like,
yeah.
Is that
right?
I still have that in me where like you tell me I can't do something and instantly I'm like, all right, I'll show you. All right.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. It's that, every time, and right now I'm thinking of two to possibly three. I can't remember the third conversation at the moment, but at least two folks who I always come around, and it seems as if they always talk to me as if I'm broken, as if I'm just all as at loss. I'm like, I just don't play football anymore, and I don't drink anymore. That's really that's really.
It's so it is. I know exactly. Well, not exactly, but I know a little bit what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You chime in with like your experience kind of a thing, and they're like, "Well, you're an alcoholic, so I'm not really gonna take your point." So it's like, what? What does that have to do? What does that have to do with being a Packer fan? What does that have to do with being a Brewer fan?
It actually has a lot to do with being fans of those teams.
Right.
90% of the fan base are alcoholics. I'm sorry, but that's the fact.
But, you know, and it could have to do with other parts of life too. Like, what does me not drinking alcohol have to do with line work? Nothing? Okay. Like,
exactly. No, it's funny because if we really go by the standard of what is an alcoholic based on the doctors, and you go to the doctor's office, many folks would be right there in having to make the choice, be put in the position to have to make a choice to either stop or continue down the path. We obviously just made the decision to stop. So that's what I want for people to understand is for those who were mentioning who maybe it's lack of education surrounding substance abuse, or maybe it's just maybe you do feel bad Maybe when you hear the word, or the recovering alcoholic, you immediately think of negatives as opposed to thinking of positives.
Oh, that's for sure. Like I still do. So, and that's a really good point because I just didn't drink. That's what I used to tell people. It took me 6.5 years to get to I'm an alcoholic, and it was this podcast that pushed me there, right? Yeah. I was not going to describe myself as that at all. And there's nothing wrong with describing yourself as an alcoholic. It's just the box that society then puts you in.
It puts you in a box, doesn't it? It really, really does. They're like, oh, he's a recovering alcoholic. And it's like, you don't view it as, he was,
touch you, you're going to get out.
Yeah. He was an effed up person, this and that and that. And so he, good for him. You know what I mean? Like, change his life around. Yeah, we appreciate that. But also, there's just a way about going about saying it. View it as, wow, this young man, women, he had the opportunity to continue down the path that was destructive to their behavior, their relationships, whatever. But they made the choice to go in the opposite direction, stepping away from the bottle, changing their reward system, for the better, so other folks around them can reap a sober, healthier person. That's the way that I view it whenever I come across folks who say, oh, I'm X amount of years sober from opioids or marijuana or alcohol or what have you, or crack. I don't immediately think of, oh man, I bet you have a bunch of crazy stories. The first thought that comes into my mind, maybe that's the third or fourth, again, once I get to know the person, and it's like, all right, let's, how are you doing? But the first thing I think about is, wow, you have the guts, you have the strength to, for one, admit it, that you are now on this other end. You suffered from a substance. And two, obviously, if you're true to yourself, true to your recovery, more kudos to you. You made the choice, the difficult choice, the decision to head in the opposite direction, which takes guts, which takes stamina, daily stamina.
You're way more serious than I am, because when I meet somebody, I'm like, me too. Yeah. All right. We did it. We did it.
Right. No, there's nothing wrong with that either. I think being cheerleaders it's a really good thing. It's a really, really good thing. But that I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest so people can understand.
For
it's
sure.
Like, we're not broken. We're not damaged goods. That's what it's like when they talk to me as if I'm like a damaged good. And I'm like,
I mean, and that just goes back to being an athlete, right? Like you look at it as a good and not as a person.
They're like, yo, you could have been this, you could have been that in the league. I get it. I could have been, but there's so many other things I still can be. I'm 30. But anyways, I wanted to get that off my chest.
I'm up for 30. He's 30. Come on.
It's like, dude, I can live for 60 more years. All right, we got. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, I want for folks to really think on that. So my two things,
and I'll live for 60 more years.
And then I'll shut up. Number one, how has the pandemic impacted your family dynamics, your familial dynamics? That being friends, of course, too. We'll just throw friends in that mix of family. How has the pandemic impacted that? Has it gone really political between these people who you no longer talk to? Is it just
rarely conversate with, or always fight with, or
right? How has it been? And then two, is there a lack of substance abuse education in the country when it comes to? Because obviously the answer is yes. We know the answer is yes, but more specific, when we talk about friends no longer being your friends whenever you hop on your recovery journey. And it's not as if they come out and say, hey, we're not friends anymore, but you get it. They stop texting you as often. You're not included in so many things as often.
Say you are the one who always initiates it, right? You're the one who always reaches out. It's never the other way.
Exactly.
Rarely it's the other way.
Exactly. So those are my two things that I want people to really think on. Because it's unfortunate. It really, really is that if I'm friends with somebody, I expect for my friend to push me, challenge me, make me a better person inside and out. And I hope that they would want the same thing reciprocated. So if I had a friend who's which I do have friends who've overcome a substance, it's almost like I have more respect for them. Because again, you looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I have to make a change, and you're doing it. 90% of the population can't even do that.
Right? That's huge kudos.
Yeah.
Like, even taking that first step, going a week, going a month, like you are
Growth.
recognizing that you have to change something, and you possibly could change it. Like, that's the thing is, we are not anti-alcohol,
Right.
and if you can change your behaviors, your consumption behaviors, that's awesome. That is good on you. That's something that we couldn't do without going all the way, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, I have a lot of friends that were actually able to change their consumption behaviors. My brother was able to change his consumption behavior when he has two alcoholics like right next to him.
Yeah.
My dad and me. And he has been able to do that. And
Yeah.
I am so immensely proud of him being able to do that. That's something that is huge, but also just like that's the growth we're talking about, promoting growth, like giving people room
Exactly.
to make mistakes and come back, right? Like my 5-6 years ago, my brother was down a really dark path, and his life is completely different now. And I had to allow him to make decisions on his own and struggle. And he struggled for a few years, but had I been there and just like been his crutch, I don't think he would be where he is right now.
Exactly.
But I've always been there with kind words. I would never let him get to a spot where he would be in really dire straits. I would try to help him stay out of that.
Yeah.
When you have an adult who needs to make adult decisions, there's such a line there that it's very difficult to walk. It's very difficult to be supportive and be there, not be that crutch.
Yeah.
Not to be there and hold them up. It's all. I mean, that's part of parenthood too. Watching your children make mistakes. Like, how do you do that and you don't come off as judgmental, or every time you talk it's a speech? Or how do you prepare your children to make decisions, and good ones, decisions you can trust? It starts like now for me, right? Like 3.5 and 2. I gotta start putting that work in now so that I can trust when they get older, they can make their decisions, and I have to stick by it.
I love it.
And I gotta trust that I instilled in them my morals, not just society's or, whatever. Like, that's I just have to trust them as people. And that's tough. That's not something that is easy to do. I can see it as a parent. I watched a children's movie on Netflix with them the other night, and I started crying because that's what I do now. I watch children's movies and I cry because I think about them in the future and
nice
things that could happen and stuff. And like that's something that is difficult to talk about, difficult to convey, but it's also part of the joy of parenthood is watching them grow, watching them go to the park and these toys being on the ground and watching my youngest pick it up and give it back and say, here you go.
Yep.
And instead of trying to take it and use it themselves, like, they're better people than I am, and I hope it stays that way, and I'll try everything I can, but I also have to give them the room to be able to do that. I can't be on top of them.
I think I love that because again, in my opinion, the greatest gift I think that a parent can give their child is the examples, and showing them examples, giving them the ability to overcome adversity. One of the greatest gifts. It really is. Because obviously, again, as I said earlier, maybe in a show before or what have you, life is going to kick the shit out of you. That's just what it does 24/7. So I think the greatest gift a parent can give their child is the ability to overcome adversity, the ability to sit in that moment of where you have to make the decision to overcome adversity is monumental.
Absolutely.
Monumental. And so I think also then
Being
it's
honest. Like that's where that comes from too, is being honest with them.
yeah. So then again, it's that which brings it back full circle when we talk about athletes, when we talk about people overcoming their substance abuse, that adversity, people falling off the wagon but getting back on, doesn't mean that your growing side has stopped. The greatest athletes of all time, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, etc. We can go, let's go all other sports too. Wayne Gretzky, we could go Michael Phelps, etc. Simone Biles, all these the greatest athletes ever, right? Are considered the greatest athletes ever because they have failed more times than they have succeeded. Again, they have failed more times than they have succeeded. That means after each failure, they didn't stop. After each failure, they didn't stop. Success comes when you just keep trying. Period. So, overcoming adversity is important.
And if you dwell on the adversity, that's when we become jaded.
Right.
It's important to take a step back and there's fun in a process, right? There's fun in practice. You can have fun and lose in a sport. You can have fun in parenthood and not be the best parent.
See, I was really I was really quiet on that last one because I just
It's true though, like
it is. I'm just way too competitive.
Trust me, I get it. I do not like to lose, but I look back on it and I'm like, actually, I had some fun in that game that I lost. I still had some fun. I still would have liked to come out on top, right? But there were some fun moments.
Sure.
You know, I can make a mistake in parenthood, admit that mistake, but still understand like where the fun is there, like the frustrations of potty training.
Oh, dude, you got plenty more mistakes coming for the next.
I've never been more frustrated in my life than potty training my oldest, and my youngest is going to be more frustrating. I can feel it. He's going to be more frustrating. There's going to be poop all over the bathroom. I am not prepared for it.
So many more mistakes coming until you're in the ground, but it's just.
That's the thing. That's what you have to realize. We're all going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. Yeah.
And that's just what I get very frustrated about folks is just this living in glass homes, throwing stones. That just really irks my soul. It really does. But again, that's unfortunate. That's been going on since mankind has existed. Which is why we wanted to start this podcast. But again, I think bringing everything full circle, we touched on some very, very important things. And I think as a whole, the ability to overcome adversity is very, very important. That being overcoming your substance abuse, overcoming familial stressors, societal stressors, work. Sitting in that moment of when you have to make that decision is the most, in my opinion, most monumental moments of a life. Is if you can pinpoint moments where you were like, okay, I could have went this way, but I decided to go that way because I went that way, which is the better route. But since I went that way, now I've gained this, that, and that, as opposed to, you know, what all you could have gained that could have been negative, you know, from continuing down the dark path. So again, focus on that, you guys. Focus on that. So that's all I got on that.
And look around you, right? Like that's a good point. That's a really good point. That's something that we don't always give ourselves. Giving yourself some grace. I've heard that a lot lately. You know, what is grace?
Sure.
But you know, we have very exciting times coming up. There's a lot of fun times to be had, a lot of fun things. For me, it's cleaning up after these kids.
Nice.
All of that fun that comes with it.
It's gonna be an exciting fall, man.
Packing up a house and moving. Completely new experiences. I put my notice in at my current job, and that hit hard. And I was telling my coworkers it hit hard, and it's like that took more than a minute to sit with.
Yeah.
And then like the day that I put my notice in, a lot of things changed, and it's like, wow. And this is a lot of it is dominoes because of me moving, but we've been talking about doing this forever, so that's not gonna stop me. Laughing about things that you can't control, right?
Exactly.
That's things will work out. You have to be adaptable. You have to be flexible. You have to be willing to see the multiple paths, but we have to find new outlets. Being adaptable.
Indeed.
So,
indeed.
When are you starting God of War?
That was good. So today I think I'm gonna get back to later today. I gotta take care of some things for the next 3 hours, but maybe some Red Dead.
Sounds boring.
I think I'm gonna restart God of War. I don't know. I think I'm gonna play baseball after that. I'll try to sneak in some God of War tonight. Restarting that.
I recommend setting aside, and this is gonna sound like a long time, but it's not gonna feel like it, 4 hours and just playing 4 straight hours.
Yeah.
You'd be totally in. Like if you start that game and you do like half-hour chunks, it's not gonna feel as good. But if you get through like that first 4 hours,
right, then
all of a sudden things start to compound, and you'll be like,
yeah. I can tell. I can tell. I trust. As I stated in many episodes, I believe you. Hence why I re-downloaded it. It's on everybody's like top 3 greatest games sources that I respect. So yeah, I'm gonna check that out. But this is a good show, man. Good episode. Gotta let you get to the boys. We covered a lot.
Yeah, we did. And it's good to get into some of these topics. It's good to be serious and then come back and be silly and talk about things and have a little bit of levity. Yeah, that's to me what is important is the levity. Anari, please stop yelling. Just like that, right?
Indeed.
One thing I've been thinking about that we should think about doing between us is we should have like a line that we use at the beginning of the show that describes what the show is, because we're so many episodes in. We're gonna have people that join that have never joined before. So then talk about what Untapped Keg is, and
no, I was thinking
talk about later too.
So we just do a preview before every single show now, just a minute preview of what the show's gonna encompass, and then it goes into our intro. Then it goes probably into an ad. We'll talk about it.
But talk about how we're part of the Believe Podcast Network.
Yep.
This is Untapped Keg. Show about our sobriety and journey and everything that life encompasses. Boom. Just like that. Untapped Keg. Let's go.
Oh, I thought you meant like an intro to each show.
No.
Like, because I know some podcasts where they say, this show is going to be about blah, 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 blah. Just obviously.
If we had time to actually put into being professional, maybe. But we don't have that time right now. Maybe in a month from now we will. But that's, just like a line or two that describe what this is that people are listening to. So, catch Monts at...
Yes, you guys can find me on Twitter at MonteBall28. Finally, thank you, Twitter. Giving me back my blue check mark. You freaking robbers. Snatched it from me when I changed my Twitter handle a while back, but gave it back. MonteBall28. Instagram at Monte Ball, Untapped Keg pages as well. You know the deal. Please send us topics, questions, what have you. Even some guests that you want to see, please let us know. We're swinging for the fences on all. RJ, where can they find you?
Hit us up, Untapped Keg on Twitter. I'm on there a lot. Send a message to our Gmail. Look up our Facebook group, Untapped Keg. You find me on Twitter, ITZ Trickster. The I is a 1 in Trickster. And, you know, let's have a good week, everybody. Give yourself some grace. Take some time. Take a step back. And look at where you've been over the past year and how you've moved forward. And if you feel like that you could move forward more, come up with a plan of how you could do that, right? But you have moved forward a little bit, and give yourself some credit. So let's try to be better tomorrow than we were today, because at least if we don't make it, we tried. Thank you for tuning in, everybody.